Hello, 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 everyone. How are you doing? Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today, you guys, I want to talk about the dispute process. And I want to talk about it in as much detail as possible because I get a lot of inboxes and emails wanting to know, like, what should I do next? The credit bureaus didn't respond, or the account was verified. What do I do next? You guys, sometimes it is so hard for me to answer that question when you inbox me because I don't have enough information. What did you request from the credit bureaus? When did you request it? Um, if the account was verified, who did you ask to verify the account? How did they verify it? It's more information, and it's not a one size fits all. And sometimes it's not one specific letter that works for everyone. So today, I just want to talk about how to handle charged off accounts. And I want to talk about each one of them separately, you guys, because I handle the dispute process for each one of them is different for me. And before I get started, I want to say that this is not legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. And I am only telling you about my experiences and what I do. I'm not saying that this is correct or that you should do this, but I'm just letting you know what I do. And you guys, my name is Jennifer Campbell. I am a financial educator. I do help people with their personal credit and business credit. I do have a credit repair business, the Credit Laboratory. So this is what I do daily. And I just wanted to share some knowledge with you guys. And if you learn anything or if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to comment down below. Let me know, and I'll do my best to get those questions answered for you guys. And today we're going to be talking about the dispute process for charge-offs, collection, and late payments. We won't be hitting on bankruptcies and inquiries, but we will be talking about all other accounts. So if you have questions about the dispute process or how to dispute inquiries, if you find this video educational and you make it all the way to the end with me and you want me to share my process for bankruptcies and inquiries, let me know. And I will do that for you as well to make sure that you understand the proper way to do that, because the dispute process is different depending on your account, depending on the account type. If your account has a balance, how you're disputing it. It's going to also depend on what your credit profile looks like. And I say that because if you have a thin profile and you have an account with some late payments, you may not want to dispute the entire account. You're going to just want to dispute the late payment. And if you can't get those late payments removed, would it be worth it to dispute the entire account? So that's why I said the dispute process is different for each type of account, for your each type of profile. It's going to depend on you, how many other accounts you have. There's a number of different things. Okay, but you guys, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to get right to it. Let's talk about the dispute process for charged off accounts. If you have a charged off account, and a charged off account is an account that is still with the original creditor that was charged off or sent to collections, external collections or internal collections, because the account went past 180 days without payment and the creditor gave up hopes of receiving money. So they charged it off. So this process is going to be charged off for talking about charged off accounts. If they have a balance or if they don't have a balance, this is going to include your repos, um, your credit cards, loan accounts. We're going to be talking about that for charge-offs and collections. And I'm taking my time. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm throwing around because student loans popped up in my head. Okay, with student loans, if they've been charged off or if they're in collections. It's going to depend on what type of student loan it is, whether it's a federal student loan or a private student loan, how you're going to handle it. If it's a federal student loan and it's in charge of or collections, you're going to have to contact your loan provider, and you're going to have to see if you're eligible for rehabilitation. If your loan is eligible for rehabilitation, you can rehabilitate your loan. But your loan can only be rehabilitated one time in its lifetime. So take that into consideration. You can also consolidate, but if you consolidate your student loans when they're in default or charge off in collection status, the charge off in collection status will remain on your credit reports if you consolidate it. When you rehabilitate them, they remove the default status. So that's the difference with your student loans if they're federal. That's how you would get those out of charge off or collection status. Contact your creditor, rehabilitation, or consolidation, or pay them off. See if you can get a settlement. Now, if they're private student loans, you're going to handle those just like you handle regular charge offs, because private student loans aren't federal student loans. They are different. And most private student loans don't offer rehabilitation. So you're going to handle those the same way. So when I'm talking about charge-offs, we're going to be talking about your repossessions. We're going to be we're going to be talking about your repossessions. We're going to be talking about your student loans, credit card accounts, and loan accounts. Any kind of charge-off account that you have that's with the original creditor. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And now, I'm just going to get started. With the charge-offs, the first thing you want to do is when you're disputing, you're going to always dispute directly with the credit bureaus. If you're disputing with the original creditor for a charge-off account, your first move is going to be to dispute with the credit bureaus. You're going to request a reinvestigation, and if they verify that account, you're going to ask them for their method of verification. That's going to be the first thing that you do for a charge-off account. And now when you do that, you're either going to get the account is either going to be deleted because they don't verify within the 30 days that they're allotted, or it's unverifiable. If it's not deleted, you're going to get no response, or they're either going to verify and update the account. Okay. Once you contact the credit bureaus and they don't delete it, say if you don't get a response. If you don't get a response, you're going to simply ask for reinvestigation and verification again. And you're going to let them know that this is your second notice or your second request. And you're going to let them know that if it's not answered this time, that you will be reporting them. And once you get to this step, you're going to be reporting them to the CFPB, the Better Business Bureau, and the Attorney General of your state. And after you send that second request, after a no response, they're either going to respond or not respond again. And if they don't respond after they already have not responded and you send them their second notice, start reporting them. Start reporting them. Okay? If the credit bureaus verified and updated the account and they've given you their method of verification, and they verified it. They verified and said, hey, we verified this account such and such at this address says that this information was, verified. Or if they update the account, you can start factual disputing with the credit bureaus. If you can look at the account and see information is reported incorrectly, you can start factual disputing directly with the credit bureaus after you've already asked for reinvestigation and verification. You also need to start disputing directly with the original creditor. You need to be requesting validation per FCRA 623. And I'll try to put that in here. But you can also Google FCRA 623. And that basically states that after you've already requested reinvestigation through the credit bureaus, that you can request validation directly through with the original creditor. So say if you're disputing this account and something is actually wrong with it, and then you have to sue the original creditor, you have to make sure you've taken the proper chain of command or the proper steps in order first. And that would be the first thing that you have to do. And that's what the FCRA says as well. You have to go through the credit bureaus first and request a reinvestigation and get your method of verification. Once you get your method of verification, that's when you'll know who to contact. And that's when you'll request validation per FCRA 623 directly with the person that's furnishing that information. And you can also, while you're doing that, if you know something's wrong, you can see that something's wrong, you can start factual disputing with the credit bureaus. Once you request that validation from the original creditor, they should be sending you all type of paperwork back. And you can use about the account, itemizations of everything that's been going on when you open the account, when you close the account, when you make payments, your balances. You can use that information to make sure that that information is reporting correctly on your credit reports. If it's not, you can use those documents that you got from the original creditor to factual dispute. You can start factual disputing. After you get the documents from the original creditor, you can start factual disputing with the original creditor or the credit bureaus or both, however you want to do it. But you can start factual disputing. So with your charge-offs, I'm just going to run through this one more time really quickly, you guys. And like I said, this is going to be the first step. It's contacting the credit bureaus, requesting a reinvestigation and verification. They're either going to delete it, you're not going to get a response, or they're going to verify it and update it. If you don't get a response, you're going to simply request the information again, and you're going to let them know that it's your second notice. If you sent the first letter through regular mail, I would try sending this second one certified through the post office, through the United States Postal Service. Send it certified. That way you'll have a tracking number and you can keep up with when they received it, and you'll be able to have documentation of when they actually received it. So if you don't get a response then and you start reporting them, you have documentation to send with your complaint. And if they verify or update the account, you can factual dispute it if you see something wrong. You'll be factual disputing with you can factual dispute with the credit bureaus. After you've asked for reinvestigation and verification, the account has been verified and updated, you can request validation directly with the original creditor, per FCRA 623, you guys. And when you are doing your reinvestigation and verification, the credit bureaus have 30 days to do a reinvestigation. When you ask for a method of verification, they have 15 days. You can request a reinvestigation and method of verification separately in 2 different letters, or you can do them together in the same letter. And if you do them in the same letter, know that it won't be just 30 days. They get an additional 15 days. So the whole time that they get is 45 days to respond. So you want to remember that. And that's going to be your FCRA 611. If anybody want to look, 611. FCRA 611. I'm sorry. 611. FCRA 611. It gives you that information. It tells you how many days you get for reinvestigation and method of verification. Also, I know right now with everything that's going on with the pandemic, the CFPB, I've read documents that they've put out on their website stating that the credit bureaus have 60 days to respond. 60 days to do a reinvestigation. So, this time frame is kind of different right now with how much time they actually have. I don't know if the law has been updated. I can't personally say I've seen it or I have knowledge, but if the law has been changed, they do have their 60 days. But if not, it's 30 days. And when you ask for your method of verification, it's going to be 15 days. Okay, you guys, that's going to be your charge-offs. Now let's talk about collections. How are we going to be disputing collections? Okay, you guys, with the collections, starting out, I want you to know we're going to be disputing with the credit bureaus and the debt collector at the same time. Yes, you guys, at the same time. Okay, now, and I'm going to say now, you guys, this is just my dispute process. This is what I do. Everybody does, the dispute process their own way. I'm just letting you know what I do. And if you have any questions or any recommendations on how to do it better, let me know down in the comments. I'm always willing to learn. I'm not above learning anything, from anybody because I don't know everything. I learn something new every day. Okay. But with the collections, first thing I do is I ask for, you got it, reinvestigation and method of verification from the credit bureaus. I'm also going to be requesting validation per the FDCPA 809 directly from the debt collector. So I'm going to be sending documentation and requests to both of them at the same time. Now, when I send my validation to the debt collector, I'm going to be letting them know that their claim is disputed and denied, to cease and desist and stop all collection activities until this account has been properly validated per FDCPA 809. Now, when you say that a debt collector is supposed to stop all collection activity, that also means they're reporting to the credit bureaus. So if I sent a letter to the debt collector asking them to stop all collection activity, which means they're not supposed to be reporting to the credit bureaus or anything, and I've also sent a letter to the credit bureaus asking them to verify it, when they're verifying it through the debt collector. But if the debt collector is supposed to cease all collection activity until it's verified, and they have that letter right then when the credit bureaus are asking them to verify, they're not really supposed to verify if they have not properly validated the account per FDCPA 809 and the account is actually, not is actually incorrect. They're not supposed to be verifying it or updating it with the credit bureau until it's validated and the account is, legally correct. Now, if the account is reporting correctly and it's been validated, they can still verify it through the credit bureaus. But if that account is not correct, they can't verify it. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining it correctly the way that I do it in my head. So basically, I'm sending a letter to the credit bureaus, whichever credit bureaus are reporting it, and I'm sending a separate letter, a totally different letter to the third party debt collector. I'm going to be asking the credit bureaus to investigate and give me their method of verification, and I'm going to be asking the debt collector to validate it. Okay? Now, after we do that, the credit bureaus are going to send you a letter. The credit bureaus are either going to delete it, you're going to get no response, or it's going to be verified and updated again. Now, you also sent a request to the debt collector. So that means they should also be sending you a correspondence back. So if they're either going to delete it, the debt collector is either going to delete it, you're either not going to get a response from them, or they're not going to properly validate it, or they're going to validate it with you. They're going to properly validate it with you. Okay? Say if they don't delete it and you don't get a response or it's not validated. And when I say not validated, you guys, if a collection company sends you a statement and say it's a credit card and they just send you 2 months of statements, that's not going to be considered validation. Number one, I need statements from when the account was a $0 balance up to the end. I need to see and understand how you got the balance that you got to. So that's an example of not properly validating. So if that account's not properly validated, you'll send another letter back to the debt collector and you'll let them know that that's not proper validation, and you'll let them know why it's not proper validation. And you'll request it again. You'll let them know, hey, thank you for sending me these 2 statements on this account, but I still do not recognize this account. Can you please, or this information, can you please send me statements from when this account had a $0 balance up until to the balance that it shows now? If they don't respond, you'll simply send them a validation again, and you'll let them know that this is your second request and they have 30 days. And when you're sending any letter to the debt collector, those need to always be sent certified through the United States Post Office. So you'll know when they receive those and when they don't. And after a second request, if it's not properly validated or they haven't responded, you need to start reporting them. And you should have your documentation of where you sent them certified and have your letter. And they have not responded to me or they haven't properly validated for me. And you can upload that information. You can share that, like I said, with the FTC, the CFPB, the Better Business Bureau, or your Attorney General, or all of them if you like. But I would start with the CFPB. Okay, say they do validate the account. Now, so I'm gonna tell you what proper validation is to me, because I've disputed some accounts. Say if I dispute, I'm gonna say, if I dispute, I'm just gonna try to do it as basic as I know how to keep it straight in my mind, you guys. Okay, say if I dispute a third party collection account. Say I had a credit card with JCPenney, and now a collection account got it, and I dispute with the collection account, and I ask them to validate it. And JCPenney sends me a letter to let me know that they sold the account to such and such is now the holder, la 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 la, and they give me, and then the debt collector gives me the proper validation. Or I know the account is mine and it has a small balance and I can't factual dispute it. You can just make a settlement, you guys. It's okay to make a settlement because everything won't always be deleted from your credit reports. And that shouldn't always be your goal. Sometimes, babies, if y'all owe these people their money, just give it to them. Just give it to them. If they can validate it and it's reporting correctly, you can't factual dispute it, they done gave you everything, just go and make a settlement. Because they can take you to court to try to get a judgment against you. And if you make a settlement, depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the age of the account, and if the account is still inside the statute of limitations on how much, you would try to settle for. If it's an account that's outside of the statute of limitations, I would try to settle for I would go as low as possible because they can't sue you for it anymore. But if it's still inside the statute of limitations and the original creditor still has it, you may end up paying, a majority of it. If it's still inside the statute of limitations and a debt collector has it, you may can get away with paying half of it. And when you make your settlements, you guys, if possible, try not to make monthly payments. See if you can make a settlement for one lump sum and just get it taken care of. Because sometimes if you can do it for just one lump sum, you can get a lower amount. So you guys, that is how I dispute collections. You'd be disputing with the credit bureaus at the same time. And I want to go up here, you guys, to the credit bureaus where it says reinvestigation and verification, where it says request validation per FCR with the original creditor. Say if you're disputing with the debt collector and they validate it and they tell you who the original creditor is, but the balance is not looking right or reporting right, you can request information from the original creditor, FCR per FCRA 623 with your collections. You can not just dispute with the credit bureaus, and you don't have to just dispute with the third party debt collector. You can also contact the original creditor And by that time with the credit bureaus, the debt collector, if they validated it, they would have been giving you the information, or they would have been giving you the original creditor's name and their address by now. And that's why I disputed like that. Because you would have asked them for that the round before. So if the collection company has validated it, you can turn around if the amounts are not correct or looking right, or if you still don't, believe that the information is right, you can request validation from the original creditor. And this is the process that I would be doing that. And you, at the same time, you guys, with the credit bureaus and the debt collectors for the collections, we're disputing them at the same time. You guys, did I explain it to you good enough? Please let me know. I hope I did. I hope I was able to explain it to you the way that I see it in my head. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you guys. Now, let's talk about the dispute process for late payments. And the dispute process for late payments is going to be different depending on if the account is open or closed. So depending on the account status and how many late payments the account actually has. Basically, 3 or more or 3 or less. So let's get started. Okay. If it's a closed account with 3 or more late payments, closed account, 3 or more late payments with a $0 balance. So it's not a charge off, you guys, just a closed account with 3 or more late payments. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. But I would dispute that entire account, because if it's 3 or more late payments, it's going to be hard to get a goodwill adjustment for that account, because with 3 or more, it's gonna look like you're a habitual offender, So 3 or more, it's gonna be hard to get someone to adjust them. I won't say that they won't give you a goodwill adjustment for them, because you can always request it. You can always. But I would just go about disputing the entire account. And I would do it like I would do a charge-off account. That's the process that I would take. For a closed account with 3 or more late payments, I would dispute the entire account like I would dispute a charge-off account. Okay, say it's an account. Let me give you a couple examples of if I would dispute the entire account or not with 3 or more late payments. Say if it's a 5-year-old account with 60 payments in the payment history showing for 5 years. 60 payments for 60 months, okay? And I have 5 late payments. I would ask for a goodwill, or I would try to factual dispute it. And if I couldn't get it removed like that, I would just leave it alone, because there's more positive accounts showing than negative. I wouldn't dispute the entire account off, because that may hurt me more than it would help me. Say if it was an account that had only been open 10 months and you had 5 late payments, I would want to dispute that entire account, because half of them were late payments. And with 10 months, that's not a lot of payment. That's not a lot of age. There's not a lot of credit age. There's not a lot of positive payment history showing. I would dispute that entire account if it had more than 3 late payments. Okay? An open account with 3 or more late payments. An open account with 3 or more late payments. If it's a credit card, I want you to try to get a new account number. You can try to first thing I want you to do is try to get a new account number. And I'm fixing to explain why and how you do that. You'll call them up, tell them, card's been stolen, you need a new account number. They'll cancel that card out, give you a new account number. When that happens, sometimes they'll close out the old account on your credit file, and they'll start reporting a new account on there. And they may not bring over that old payment history. They may just start that payment history at the month that it starts reporting. And if that happens, that old account number that's on there is going to be closed. So then you can start disputing that because it's closed. I hope y'all caught that because I'm moving on. Okay, an open account with 3 or more late payments. If it's not a credit card, if it's any other type of account open with 3 or more, if you can factual dispute them. Or you're gonna have to wait till the account is closed. You're gonna have to pay the account off, or wait till you finish with the account, and then you can dispute the entire account off if there's not that much age on there. But an open account with 3 or more lates, it's hard to get them removed. You'll probably have to wait until that account is closed if they are reporting if they aren't reporting incorrectly. Now, if they're reporting incorrectly and you can prove it, you can dispute them and get them removed. Okay, let's talk about open accounts with 3 or less late payments. You're going to factual dispute. And you guys, when you're factual disputing, you're going to be factual disputing with the credit bureaus. But with your late payments, the first thing you're going to do is just like you do your charge-offs. You're going to start a reinvestigation, and you're going to ask for their method of verification. You're either going to start factual disputing, or you're going to request documentations from your original creditor, asking them to prove that you were late if you weren't late. Or if you can prove, that you paid it on time, show them where you paid it on time out of your account. Like, you can factual dispute it. You can also ask for a goodwill. If it's an open account sometimes and you've had that account for a long time and it's 3 or less late payments showing, most of the time, your original creditor, they will do a goodwill adjustment and remove those late payments for you. If not, if you're so, if you don't appreciate it and you're not enjoying the account, if they don't give you a goodwill and you can't get them removed factual disputing, pay the account off and close it. Once it's closed, just dispute the entire account off. That is how I handle late payment. Okay, you guys, I hope you found this educational. If you learned something, you guys, let me know down below. Also, I got a bonus for you if you stuck around with me to the end. I'm going to put a link down below to actually give you a letter, because the last person that requested something from me, they requested a letter for when the credit bureaus verify their account, what to do next. So you guys, I'm going to give you a method of verification letter as a freebie that you can download, but you will have to enter your email address, you guys. And I did that just so it's on a site where it can just automatically give it to you, you guys. So I'm going to put that link down there. And if you have any questions, you let me know, you guys. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you learned something, let me know what you learned. If I missed something, let me know what I missed. If you want to share some information with me on a better process, let me know. I'm all ears, you guys. And again, thank you for joining me. I enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something. Until next time.